Pete called me up and we ended up having a meeting, and he goes, okay, look, you know, we're opening the game up, we're looking at the design doc, and we want to, you know, change some things, make some things better, and we're going to have about 30 to 40 roles, and I want name talent in every single one of them.
You moving in on Miami?
This man is crazy.
Scarface can't just be what everybody else is doing. It has to be something beyond that. The decision was made early on that we want to cast all of, even some of the minor parts, with name talent, and that talent that's really good and fit the part, most importantly. Not looking just to cast a bunch of names to cast a bunch of names.
Say hello to my little friend.
All those characters work for the game and make the gameplay experience better for the player.
We work with the casting director, and basically we bring all the designers in and the producers, and everyone kind of just brainstorms, picks out names we think would be good for those roles. And then we narrow it down, and then it's like, basically it's just the people we really want, and if they're into Scarface, and a lot of people are and were,
come on in and see what we do.
Then they're more than willing to sign up for something like that.
Get away from me, you hairy back little monkey.
No, when I got the call to do this, it was such a thrill. I would have done it for free. I kept saying I would have done it for free. And they haven't paid me yet, so I think they might not pay me after saying that, which is cool too, but it's all good.
We view the game from a worldwide basis. We want fans of, you know, the game in Spain or England, wherever, all over the world, that they have characters in the game that sort of are local celebrity talent that they identify with. Like Ricky Gervais is, you know, from the UK.
There's a job going at Mickey D's. I can put a word in for you. If you fuck off.
Obviously we wanted him to come in and do a kind of a badass kind of character. He took it into a direction which was like, it worked really well.
Maybe try one that, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I'm not going to say that, it's rude. I play a drug contact who thinks he's tough, thinks he knows the score, swears a lot. Fuck off! I made him sort of like a bloke who came from Reading but has lived in London for a while. That's the accent I was trying to do. And I think I pulled it off. And this is a training video for schools, yeah?
I think we really tapped into the humour as well, with people like Ricky. James Woods is another example of someone who was great at just taking what we'd had on paper and really kind of bringing it to life.
I don't care about anything about you except your cup size. One of the things I love to do in these games, because I always laugh when they put a little funny stuff in, even the way the sounds they make when some like guy dies in a thing, like, whoa, you know, I just love that stuff. So he has a lot of reactions when things happen to him, and I like to be able to slide a little humor into these games, because I think people really appreciate them. If you're wanting free legal advice, how about a little head?
Robert Loggia signed on, and Stephen Bauer, and the chainsaw guy. Oh my God, that's huge.
The material that we did today, I find it quite intriguing. The dialogue was amusing, trenchant, the ability to use the four-letter word, like in Scarface, where the F word was used over 200 times.
What the fuck?
Didn't your mama teach you any fucking manners?
It's whiter than my fucking hick brother.
Fucking loser.
It isn't like some cleaned-up version of something where it becomes antiseptic almost. Actually, it brought back feelings of nostalgia and happiness in spending the day with you this way.
Don't get high on your own supply.
We pick up the film at a point where Manny's already dead, so we're not going to change that fiction. But we love Stephen Bauer, and we really wanted to get him in the game, so we simply brought Stephen Bauer back to play another part, because we felt like if we're going to do Scarface, you got to go get the rest of the cast.
They're two different characters with different needs and purposes. One is a Sandman, who's kind of a cool entrepreneur, should I call him.
Old Sosa thought he ran me out, but I was waiting for someone to take the fight.
And then there's Alfonso Diaz, who's really kind of a nasty-spirited Colombian punk who probably believes that he's a better man than Tony. And
hey, Daddy, I fucked your sister!
Tony just got lucky. He got all the breaks.
Hello. Rob.
Worked with Eric Weiss, who was the guy who, you know, behind all of this great cast we have. He's really the father of that cast because he put it all together. He was the one who ground the legwork out to get all of these people. It's the second time he's just hit it out of the park with us for casting. I think there's a lot of really great performances.
Yo, think about what you're fucking doing.
Jason Mewes was one of those people who really wanted to put in a game. And actually, a buddy of mine and I had met him briefly leaving an Angels game like 2-3 years ago, and I actually handed him my card.
Now back up!
When I met Pete, I was with my friend Brian at the time, and I was telling him about it. I was like, man, I wish I didn't lose that guy's card. And then my agent called me.
Now back the guy!
I'm stoked about doing the voice.
I think the women play a big role in Tony's attitude. He loves the ladies, and if we're going to make a game that captures Tony Montana, you have to capture that aspect of his character. And I think we do that in some unique ways.
With the right woman, there's no stopping me.
We have 5 characters in the game who are femme fatales, each cast by a really, really beautiful actress or model. You can find them in the game and then basically, through a series of processes, bring them back to the mansion and have them come live with you.
You want to fuck with me? A little J-Lo mixed with maybe some Jamie Presley from My Name is Earl, whatever that show is, real trailer trash, and Coochie Girl, got a big ass. I think she's got a good ass.
I don't know. Why don't you ask your dead mother?
Jillian Barberie just loves Scarface so much, and she loves to talk about it. It's a big reason why she's in the game.
Of course, my first thought was Diane. Who the hell was Diane? I'm playing Diane. I remember Diane. So, of course, it's, after Tony comes back, which, I was thrilled to be part of. Are you kidding? Thrilled. I hope she's hot, though.
I have seen fucking chihuahuas with more balls than that.
One of the other guys we recorded for this game was Lemmy, and he's kind of a unique character. We wanted to use someone like this as in the role of the gun bender.
You need something, Montana? I hook you up.
Everyone's really different. Like, you take someone like Oliver Platt. Oliver Platt comes in here, he knows exactly what he wants to do. He's very clear on what he's doing. And he kind of comes in and he does it and he moves on.
There's the little tiny supplier, there's the medium supplier, there's the large supplier, then there's the big supplier. That's me, I'm the big supplier.
This tongue's like
a great big pussy.
Yes, wait until get fucked.
Another one of the guys we recorded was Jay Moore, who's a pretty well-known comedian in the US. He's just a great performer and a great improviser and has a ton of different voices he can do.
Well, you better hurry, the Chinese chick is driving.
There's a character, Logan, I play, who's the seen-it-all, old-school type of mechanic. Killed quite a few men, mostly probably with his bare hands, I would have guessed, back in the service when he learned to rip the bottom jaws off of Dobermans from behind silently. Those Recon Delta guys. He's a southern guy down in Miami trying to sort of make an honest living, but he'll do what he can on the side. That's Logan. And Logan kind of sounds like this. I may not be going to heaven, but I know there's a special hell down there for kid killers. That's Logan. I'll do a little dance. And then the other guy is Boca.
Hey, how's it going? You gonna stand there all day? Huh? Who's your daddy?
Jimmy Boca is the kind of tweaky, maybe a little too much speed, cocaine or other, upper, too much coffee guy.
You strapped? Huh? You carry? You wired?
And he's more like a New York, he's kind of out of it, crazy guy like this, like, hey, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Like that. So Jimmy Boca's like the drug supplier, and Logan's the mechanic that works with Tony Montana, and they align themselves to fight the good fight.
Guns? We don't need no stinking guns.
Cheech Marin, Tommy Chong, Tommy Lee, on and on through the cast is just a wonderful reflection on the popularity that the Scarface character has in popular culture today.
I love it. I love my character. It was quite a stretch, for me. I'm really not used to playing a drugged-out hippie.
Hey, let's go smoke some shit, man.
I'm just typecast. I just can't help it. Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me... Ooh.
I'm ready to expand your empire.
Tommy Lee in particular was just such a guy. He's just a funny guy. Just totally just into having a good time. Totally into just making this thing work.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Tony, you're the man.
It was really enjoyable, watching him work.
One of the things that we needed to do for Tony was really sort of fill this world of Miami with, all the villains from the film. And people are like, well, all the villains, I remember Sosa, and then I remember, Frank Lopez. But, who else? And, I think there are other characters mentioned in the film, for instance, when Frank Lopez and Tony are sitting in the Babylon Club and Frank is sort of pointing out all the other, gangsters in Miami, whether it be Nacho Contreras or the fucking Diaz brothers or Gaspar Gomez.
Montana's been a fly on our shit ever since you sent your hit squad to Miami.
All those characters now come and play a big role in the game as crime bosses for one of the local areas of Miami.
Oh, I'm sorry, Montana. I didn't get your fucking memo. Gaspar is great. I mean, he's an evil guy, man. I don't usually get a chance to be so evil, so it's really nice to let that out and say all the cuss words you always wanted to say in your life. You still fucked up on your own supply?
Max Vandenberg is mysterious.
The Diaz brothers send their regards.
And he's hired by the Diaz brothers to to come after Tony Montana. It was very, very satisfying in a way because I said a lot of things to Tony Montana that I'd probably like to say to my agent.
You're finished now!
It was a cathartic experience for me to play him.
Cool. That's all good stuff. Moving on.
He's the main boss's guard, and he's a bit of a tough guy. So if you want to do any dealings with the boss, you got to go through me first.
You're interfering with my concentration. If you're a bad guy or if you're a boss, you got to command respect, and you can't let people step on you. So my character in the game is all about respect. You're either going to respect them or things are going to happen in a bad way. So I can relate. Ready? I might fire you instead of shoot you, but I can understand. I mean, you have to do it a certain way or you're going to have repercussions.
Anytime I can work with Ice-T and work with some other people you told me is on this game, Anthony Anderson, he's from Compton.
Oh, mama, I got worried. I don't know what that one means, y'all. Oh, mama, I got worried. I don't think a black man would say that.
Michael Rappaport, I'm a big fan of his. There's no game gonna be bigger than this.
He loves to talk smack because he knows he really at the end of the day doesn't have the power behind him.
Okay, you outgunned and outsmarted, cocksucker. Now, can I say cocksucker? I play a small supplier. He's a bit of an arrogant wannabe. He's really not the big guy. He's not Tony Montana, nowhere close to being that. But he has a little power. He has a little influence.
Somebody kill this bitch!
And he exercises that or exerts that on people.
Why is everyone always shooting at me?
One of the characters I play is sort of a small-time drug dealer who gets mixed up with Tony Montana and attempts to betray him. And then my other character is a corrupt cop, a cop and a drug dealer. Both ends of the spectrum, I guess, or maybe they aren't both ends of the spectrum at this point.
Officer needs assistance.
Cops make the best criminals and criminals make the best cops.
That's what you want, you're gonna get it.
Ideally, some of it have different morals. A cop walks into a room, he has a gun, and he wants some answers. Gangster walks in a room, he has a gun, and he wants some answers. And if either of them don't get their answers, they issue penalties, you dig? That's all it is. It's an easy transfer, so to me, it's just playing a heavy.
All I have in this world
is my balls and my water.
I don't break them for no.
This is Tony's turn. Leave now.
She's hilarious with all of her snappy lines and attitude. It's so much fun to do that.
I loved Miss Venus, the fly girl, Guy Trapp.
You apparently haven't met any of our fine local law enforcement.
It wasn't a very big stretch for me. I, too, have been involved in several instances of drug trafficking and wild, illicit affairs with the Cuban gangsters. So for me, I just drew from that Rolodex called my past. Fuck.
There's a lot of hotels in the game, and I'm one of the hotel owners. Tony comes in and wants to basically bully his way in. I won't give too much away, but you gotta decide, are you gonna work with him? And then Tony basically goes off, has to do a favor for the hotel owner, and he becomes partners with certain hotels.
You wanna fuck with me? This is a southern peach that has a hard pit, so you don't wanna really mess with her. At the same time, she's very genteel on the outside. Say hello to my little friend. There's something nice about the dimensions of that in the way the script progresses and gets revealed.
Look like you've done pretty well for yourself.
Well, this? Just climbing the corporate ladder. You know how it is. Jerry the Banker was a joy to do because he's so smooth. It was great to interface with, the Tony character, who's pretty wild.
Oh, the recording's excellent. It's
Eric
just
Weiss
excellent.
was able to find anybody on our wish list and make it happen. It was almost like we were doing an independent film because we were getting people to come in for much less than they normally would. Why? Because Scarface is a really, really big draw, and that really helps.
It didn't even matter if I had a name. I just wanted to be a part of the Yao Ming, you feel me?
Epic comes to mind.
This is Scarface. It don't get no bigger than that.
And that's a wrap.
Now get out my face.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. You understand?
Tony Montana is somebody that I, and probably every actor, one way or another, every male actor I know, has Tony somewhere that they keep around when they pull out in all kinds of situations.
Next thing out of your mouth is gonna be your teeth, puto!
You're not just impersonating a Spanish actor, you're impersonating a guy from the Bronx doing a Spanish accent. So that becomes a whole, it's almost a double impression.
Say hello!
off to my little friend! It's always a very physical performance, whether anyone ever sees the physicality or not. Certain ways that you speak affect the way that you move, or certain ways that you move affect the way that you speak. Fuck them all! The minute you start thinking of Tony, the chest has to come out, the shoulders go back, and there's a kind of swagger. And then that just inevitably becomes a vocal thing. Hey, you want a drink? It's almost a softness that's containing the explosion that is yet to come, you know? So if I talk to you like this, all of a sudden, I go, fuck you! It becomes, you know, you can go from huge to small because it's always, the fuse is always lit. It's just a question of when the fuck it goes off, you know? Holy shit! There's so many, Tony lines. You fucking cocksucker! But you gotta look in your eye like you haven't been fucked in a year. I piss in your face, how'd you like that? Fuck you! Scarface pressed a very specific button that I don't think any movie had ever really fully captured. And it was that the little guy with huge ambitions that would not be contained. And I think every one of us who's not necessarily well-known or famous is walking around and they want the world. And Tony's a guy who just immediately walks into the room as if he owns the joint, even when he's washing dishes in a little bodega. You know, I mean, that's the beauty of Tony. I'm Tony fucking Montana! Move that fucking camera out of my fucking face or you're gonna die. Do you understand?
Every fan out there of the film, of which there are millions and millions of people who really revere Scarface. And so for us, we really took it seriously.
Now you're talking to me, baby. That I like.
At one point, we were over 106 people working on Scarface. That's 106 people, all with really specific things to do, really focused on delivering the best gameplay experience possible. Because you can have as many people working on the game as you want, but that doesn't determine quality. What determines quality is a passion and a focus. And Radical has that going away for Scarface. They've been working on this game, by the time we're done, close to 3 years. And unless you have a drive and passion and focus for the product, you're not going to be able to get the best out of those people.
Well, it's not just any popular movie franchise. You know, there are a whole bunch of very passionate people out there. You know, this film means an incredible amount to them. So, you know, what we all want to really do is respect that and give them what they're after, but also respect the fact that we are making a game, and a game is a very different thing from a movie.
You can make a movie about a story, you can write a book about something, but nothing puts you in the driver's seat like a game.
You thought you could take me? No, I take Tony Montana down by me!
In terms of the story for the game, we were faced with some interesting challenges. One, the movie story was just so well done by Oliver Stone, Brian De Palma, Al Pacino, and the rest of the cast that there's really no way that you could improve upon what they did in the film. The second was that Tony dies at the end of the movie. And so for a player to invest their time in gameplay only to have the character that they've become so involved with die at the end of the gameplay experience, we didn't feel was very compelling. So we ultimately decided on the strategy of creating a sequel game, a what-if scenario. What if Tony didn't die?
Well, I'm back, okay? This is my town, my world, and nobody's gonna take it away from me.
For us, because we're gonna change the fiction of the film, we had to start at a point prior to Tony dying, obviously. But the other reason why we chose that mansion, shootout as the opening is, Scarface can't be a pussy ass, Tony's gonna ride a bike around Miami for the first half hour of gameplay. It's gotta come over the top at you like a fist to the face. And that's why that Tony, blowing open the door, say hello to my little friend line, and then just spilling out bullets into people's bodies was something that set the tone and said, you know what, this game is gonna fucking grab you by the balls right at the start and not let you go until you're out of Tony's mansion.
So it's sort of like, can the player, when reliving that experience, can they even out Tony? Can they figure out how to get out of every situation, even the seemingly inescapable one he's at the end of the movie?
Give me a fucking army, you're gonna save me!
Yeah, we have an overall story arc, but how the player reaches those, those story elements, we could all play the game and none of us would have the same type of experience because Scarface gives the player a lot of freedom. Now, that's not to say that we don't use a lot of, cinematic moments and we have a lot of NISs that, draw emotion from the player. But for us, it's really more about The game's got to be fun to play.
When people play this game, the one thing that's going to shine out for them is being able to play Tony Montana, being able to play with his attitude, with his outlook on life, with his perspective that was clearly established in the movie.
We've taken him from, movies, taken this strong, iconic character and put him in a video game and just let him loose. And that's really what we're giving the gamer. We're giving the gamer the opportunity of taking this character, this so over-the-top character who's capable of so much, and said, do what you want with him in this open world.
This is good, man. Real good.
Tony is not a generic thug. He's Tony Montana. He's got a set of morals that he lives by. He doesn't kill innocent women and children. That's basically his downfall in the movie, is when he won't allow that car to be exploded because he doesn't want to kill the innocent woman and child.
Do a little kiss in a car. This is so fucking bad.
He's got this moral sense to him, and he lives his life by it. That's something that was really important to us in capturing this character, is capture both sides of him. The full depth of Tony's character is in this game.
You think I killed 2 kids and a woman? Fuck that!
Well, I think the reason why the moral code works in Scarface is because it's true to the character.
What do you think I am, huh?
We had this whole thing, it was like, what would Tony Montana do? And that was the kind of thing that we stuck with. Like, what would Tony do?
We use that same litmus test for every single element that we put in the game. It's sort of the, what would Tony Montana do?
Now, my boy, we can get down to business.
We want the player to feel like Tony Montana, to live through the experience of building up their drug empire from scratch, starting from nothing and becoming this super powerful drug lord. And the way to do that is to take risks, to push it the right amount, to have the balls of Tony Montana. But being a drug dealer is not easy.
It's a war, Tony. They're all trying to take over what you had. Tell me what you know.
It gives you the opportunity to work your way through those ranks, starting out dealing with street dealers and small suppliers, and eventually ending up owning most of Miami, almost all of Miami, and working with the real big suppliers out in the islands just outside of Miami.
You work for me, and we go straight to the top. How'd you like that?
So the Drug Wars gameplay itself also unlocks story missions and basically regulates the entire flow of the experience.
I need to start making my own moves. Gotta get back in,
A large part of the game centers around shooting, and we came up with the concept of blind rage, which if you think back to the movie when Tony's standing up on the balcony and Sosa's henchmen are storming his mansion, and he's just all coked up in an absolute rage up at the top there, just shooting the shit out of everyone. And we sort of try to bottle that energy and get that across into our mechanic as well. There's a whole structure, a whole system underneath just the pure action that you do, where what you're trying to do as Tony Montana is recapture, everything that's been taken away from you.
I took a little vacation, Things got a little bit crazy, but that's done. I'm back.
We've built a lot of subsystems into there that the player's going to enjoy, like exotic items that you're able to buy and really sort of capture that feeling of like, okay, I'm taking that next step up.
You're selling drugs, you're collecting millions of dollars. You can't just spend it on new ammo, and another version of the M16. There's got to be stuff to blow your money on that isn't necessary, because that's being Tony Montana, right? The extravagant lifestyle.
Can I buy a Tiger from this thing?
I believe that the Tiger will be made available soon, yes.
Scarface is an enormous game. It's just gigantic, open world, full city of Miami, as well as a mapped out version of the Caribbean islands.
There's so much work to be able to enable a player to interact with our game how he or she wants to. We had to create tons of both outdoor and indoor locations so that the player could explore and find fun things to do.
You want to take on the world, so you need a large Miami. And we also wanted to incorporate these exotic islands where you could really get away from Miami and try and make big bucks.
There's a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of planning and a lot of understanding of what the content of the game is going to be. And you have to design your game so that your world is limited as well, so you have to have good boundary conditions in the world.
The process integrating game design and world building is basically called gray blocking. And at the very start of the project, you have game designers defining the gameplay that they want in a certain environment, and then you also have someone defining exactly what that environment should be as a theme. At that point, we will lay out a blueprint of what that environment should look like, and then we will build that in a gray block, which is basically a very, very simple representation of that geometry that we can place in the game and that we can play through. At that point, when we actually have a viable game footprint, we will then pass that off to a world builder who can actually start detailing it, painting it, adding textures, adding props, vegetation, and start to make it look like a real environment that has a flourished art direction.
Once we got some sort of a fun game, we took those gray blocks and started sort of like polishing them, adding textures, making them look more sophisticated, and of course creating very cool props that interact with characters and vehicle.
Another part to that process would be including the concept drawings and sitting down with the art director and looking at that stuff and making sure, you know, we would sit through and say, okay, we need 4 of these and 2 of those, and we'd make bus stops and mailboxes, whatever it took to make that area look cool. And if, say, we had a location like Venus Bar on one of the islands, we'd look at some of the elements that Hanny's team had made and we'd say, hey, that thing would be cool to blow up. Let's take one of those and make it into a prop. That thing there is cool too. Let's make one of those. Yeah. So we definitely collaborated on making all this stuff come to life.
We're really pushing on the rendering side. So we spent a lot of time working on the ocean, making it look really great. We spent a lot of time on the vehicles, and that looks great. And on the AI side, we have a huge AI team, and those guys are working really hard to provide excellent content.
Holy shit! As a mission scripter, my goal is to take the design that is presented to me, place it into the game, and try to make it fun, balanced, and challenging for the player to progress through the game. Decide, okay, more guys over here that shoot less accuracy, or these guys are more accurate and there's less numbers of them, or they spawn quicker.
Come on, who's gonna face me?
Vehicle AI in Scarface has quite a large scope. There's a number of different types of vehicles in this game: cars, boats, helicopters, planes. From a technical point of view, there's a lot of challenge there. These cars need to race, chase, flee, explode in spectacular ways. Traffic AI has to respond the way you think they should, stopping at stoplights, not running over people, cops spawning, chasing you. Of course, they must also respond to Tony in the way you want to be responded to. When he taunts them, they get out of the cars, you can take their cars, they respond to you with dialogue.
Me, I want what's coming to me.
Oh, well, what's coming to you, Tony?
The world, Chico. And everything in it.
We actually took a trip down to Miami before the project started and took about 4,000 photos for reference. And the biggest thing was just getting a good feel of the culture and just the life of what Miami is really like and what it was like to be there around that time. And that just gave us amazing inspiration to come back here and create these environments.
What I brought back from that trip to Miami was sort of like the light, that feeling of heat, that sense of the pace of life. Those are the sorts of elements, rather than, you know, this building sat on this corner or this road had this kind of junction at the end of it. It's more that kind of ambience rather than a literal kind of accuracy.
We looked at those pictures and we tried to get the essence of those pictures and translate them into cool looking environments. It's a very stylized impression of Miami, I would say.
Elements from the game, the street lights, are all stolen straight from the real world. We'd build the models, put them together. Also incorporate with the models is a destruction state where there's a version of it where it's clean and a version of it where it's destroyed. Those two elements are exported out. We then add to it effects and some of the information to tell you how it's going to behave. And then at that point, we throw it through the pipeline into the game and test it out and see how it works.
With respect to the environments that we had from the movie, it was a little bit more straightforward because we had really good reference from the movie. It was really cool to be walking around with Tony Montana in a full 3D interactive environment compared to just watching it as a third person from a movie.
There was a good correspondence between the core sort of iconography and the core values, you know, this black v white that goes on in the movie and goes on with Tony Montana. So I was trying to preserve that, or try and carry that over. So what you'll see in the game is this kind of like difference between the way we're treating the outdoor spaces and the indoor spaces.
we had to include sort of the cheesiness of the 80s, but also sort of, you know, kind of cool style that would be relevant to today's game players. And so we sort of mixed the two together and came up with something kind of that looks kind of 80s, and you can see it as being very 80s, but still sort of fitting with a modern kind of vibe.
So choosing locations for the game, it was important that we obviously hit the ones that people expected to see. So Tony's Mansion being first and foremost of that. Then the other one that we kind of like made sure that we were going to see was the Babylon Club. The only external one that we really needed to hit, I think, was the Sunray Motel down on Ocean Drive. So a lot of effort went into that to sort of like, again, scour the movie, work with concept art, create kind of like color roughs, match the lighting to make sure that we delivered on those, because they are very much, you know, the iconography of the film. And I think those three we kind of have spent a huge amount of time on and kept going back to, and hopefully it pays off and that people see that it's paid off.
A lot of the scenes that you see in the movie, they were kind of sets that were constructed in the studio, and you never know, you know, how one space leads into another. For a game, you have to kind of make that imaginative leap. You have to create those joining spaces. So that's what we've done. We've got things like the vehicles, the characters, the props, the cinematics. Each one of those is at a stage where you have to kind of coordinate the look and coordinate how they're relating with one another.
Time is gone. We gotta expand.
You see that film over and over, and I kind of have nothing but respect for the performance of Pacino. What he's doing in that film all the time with his face is unbelievable. I mean, when you see subsequent shots of him sort of from other movies, he looks like a different person.
We were probably under a lot more scrutiny than any other game as far as cinematics goes. This is a famous movie. We have the most famous face ever in a video game. We're trying to make it as close to the movie as possible. We watched the movie, we used De Palma's shots, you know, his signature shots as inspiration. I hope we live up to, you know, to the expectations of the people out there.
Say hello to my little friend!
Music and sound in general plays a huge role in this game. So, you know, we wanted to create an authentic Scarface experience. So, 1983, Miami, we've got all the sounds that you would expect to hear in that world.
A lot of attention was paid to the music in the game. One of the most important aspects was we were able to access the full Giorgio Moroder score from the film and incorporate that into the game. And it's such a dramatic and iconic piece of music that it really sets the stage for the gameplay experience.
So you've got that whole set of authentic 1983 music, and then what we wanted to do is actually give music to the people of today's generation who also love Scarface and let them customize their game experience in their open world. So we also have got some contemporary hip-hop music, contemporary rock, and just popular music from today that people can actually plug into their music player in the game and actually play that music as well.
I mean, I think you have to be a little bit flexible. Not every tune we wanted got in the game, but I would say the vast majority of songs that we really felt like were important to be in Scarface are actually in the final game.
We wanted a track that was kind of fresh and no one had really heard before, so we really wanted to use the kind of music player as a sort of way to do that.
Vivendi came up with a very innovative promotion, which was basically to run a music contest on MySpace and basically ask MySpace community members who were musicians to post their songs up to MySpace and let the community vote on which song was most appropriate for Scarface in the Scarface game, and that they would put that artist in the game. And so a group out of Chicago, KZ, won the contest and will actually be featured in the game with their track.
I got ears, Joe. I hear things.
For the Foley, for a lot of the combat hits and Foley sounds in the game, we had a session where we got a ton of fruit. We brought in fruit and pasta and all these kinds of things, and we basically smashed the shit out of everything. And we recorded that, layered it all up, and mixed it so it just sounded really kind of nasty, almost like over-the-top horror film. Every sound effect in this game is kind of that approach where it has to feel more brutal than in reality it is, of course. In this game, I think there are 32,000 lines of dialogue.
Come on, look at me. I know Miami. I'm gonna take it all back. You know it's true.
We wanted to capture the whole feeling of the movie, that kind of excess of Pacino's performance, which really demanded like an entire kind of, almost a complete vocabulary for Tony Montana. Not only that, but we wanted to get a really strong supporting cast. Obviously, you need people to perform really well against that kind of a character to even come close to standing up to him. Most games are kind of around 3,000, 5,000 lines. So obviously we've gone just way, way beyond anything that certainly I've worked with before.
Keep your Vaseline paws out of my pants, okay?
Tony, I've missed you so much.
Fucking loser.
I stole the world, man.
Look, this is the kind of shit that sells itself.
Holy fuck!
Well, try it and die.
Do you understand?
I think the dialogue in the video game is hilarious, and lots of the lines have become staples in the sound editing room too.
We suggest you make a donation.
Maybe you two should go home and donate a little something to your wives, you know?
Obviously bringing all these elements together, like the sound effects and the kind of dialogue stuff, that obviously needs to be mixed. And like with interactive entertainment, it's very different to mixing like a movie, for example, because everything is linear in a film, and it's everything's laid out, and you know what the big events are, and you know exactly when they're going to happen. So with a game, it's completely kind of open-ended, and you never know when the players are going to trigger these events, and you never know what music is going to be playing in that situation. You don't know what kind of characters are going to be there, so we have to do like a kind of full interactive mix for the whole game. We're taking all the game production and we're moving it to where we're going to mix all the different elements of the game on that stage there.
There's a lot of people that feel very passionately about this product, feel very passionately about the character, and it's up to us. You know, we need to take good care of that.
It's very exciting working on a game that you know people are going to pay attention to.
I'm a big fan of the movie as well, and we're doing everything we can to make sure we deliver on an authentic Scarface experience, because we know how much it means to the fans.
You finished? Can I go now?